Hello everybody. In this video we're going to look at how to label triangles in geometry and trigonometry. So let's look at this triangle here. So let us call this A, B, and C, and we will put our reference angle at C, theta. Now, well, the longest side is the hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is always opposite the right angle. So AC is our hypotenuse. Now, if theta is our reference angle and at B is our right angle, between these two angles is what we call our adjacent side. And I will use ADJ and I will use HYP for hypotenuse. Well, obviously, AB would have been the opposite side because it's opposite the reference angle. And that's how we label triangles in basic trigonometry. You notice that the reference angle can change. The reference angle can actually be at A rather than at C. So let us look at what happens when we change the reference angle to A. All right, so that again we have our A, B, and C. So I'm going to put the reference angle at A. No, the hypotenuse will never change. That is always opposite the right angle. It's always the longest side. Now you notice that the adjacent, which is always between the reference angle and the right angle, is actually over on this side. So this is our adjacent side, and B to C would be our opposite side because it's opposite the reference angle. Now, sometimes what I find out is that students usually have problems locating the opposite side. So what I normally tell students is to locate the hypotenuse, which is foolproof, and locate the adjacent, which is foolproof. And the other side that is remaining would be the opposite. All right, so basically that's how we label triangles in trigonometry. All right, so we will look now at the trigonometric ratios. All right, so we have here sine of angle A, which is opposite over hypotenuse, cos of angle A, which is adjacent to hypotenuse, tangent of angle A, which is opposite over adjacent. Now notice that it's sine, cos, and tangent of angle A. All right, angle A is our reference angle. That's where we reference our sides from. All right. So as you can see, there's an acronym we can actually use to remember this formula. It's called SO, CA, and TOR. And these, ladies and gentlemen, are the three trigonometric ratios. Just to point out that when labeling a triangle, you see, that if you notice, let me just get rid of this. A to B, that's side AB. Now I couldn't call it side A or side B only. Has to be AB. All right. Now take note. Opposite vertex A is common A. So we can call side B to C common A. Let's look at vertex B. Opposite vertex B, sorry, is common B. So we can call side A to C common B. Likewise, opposite vertex C is common C. So we can call the hypotenuse common C rather than AB. All right, so that's SOHCAHTOA. Those are the ratios. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, what does sine 30 degrees mean? If you notice on your scientific calculator, you can actually compute this and you'll actually get a value. All right, so let me just fix this. All right, so sine 30 is actually a half. So if you get a scientific calculator, you get a half. All right, so let me show you how that came about. No, many years ago or moons ago, all right, somebody drew or even created or illustrated a right angle triangle with a 30 degrees. So if we were to label this right angle triangle, this would have been the hypotenuse. This would be the adjacent side because it's between the right angle and the reference angle. And lastly, this is our opposite. Now, somebody discovered many years ago that when you have a 30-degree angle in a right angle triangle, the ratio between the opposite and the hypotenuse is in a 1:2 ratio. So somebody discovered that. So that's what sine 30 means. And remember that sine 30, according to the formula, is opposite over hypotenuse. So when you have a triangle like this, they found out that the ratio is 1:2. Always work. All right, so let's look at what does cos 60 mean? Let's look at that. So we have our right angle triangle here. We have a 60-degree here. All right, now let's label our triangle. Opposite the right angle is our hypotenuse. Between a reference angle and between a reference angle and a right angle is our adjacent. And lastly, that's our opposite. Now, according to the ratio, cos means adjacent over hypotenuse. Now, many years ago, somebody discovered that when you have a 6-degree angle, right angle triangle, the ratio between the adjacent side and the hypotenuse is actually in a 1:2 ratio. It's also a half. So cos 60 is also a half. All right, let's look at the last one. So tan 45. What does tan 45 mean? Well, the formula for tan is opposite over adjacent. So many years ago, let's label our triangle. So this is 45. Right, so the form for tan is tan is opposite divided by adjacent. So let's label our triangle now. So this is our hypotenuse, this is our adjacent, and this is our opposite. Now somebody discovered that the ratio between the opposite and the adjacent is in a 1-to-1 ratio. So tan 45 is actually equal to 1. It means that the opposite and adjacent side must be equal in length. All right. So if you pick up your scientific calculator and press tan 45, you'll get 1. And that's what the 1 means. Now, how do we work out sine 35? Well, sine 35 is actually the same meaning. Like sine is opposite over hypotenuse. However, you won't get a whole number. So therefore, we have to draw for our calculators or scientific calculator. All right. So I'm going to show you how to compute sine 35. So this one, you punch in 35, then you press sine, and sine is actually 0.57, which is a ratio. It's pretty close to 0.5. All right. So that's what it means. Sine 35 on your scientific calculator is 0.57, and that represents the ratio. Just a point to note that whenever you're using a scientific calculator, that your calculator must be in degree mode. And you can find all other angles. 77, you just press cos 77, tan 50, and you'll get the ratio. It's just that sine 30, cos 60, and tan 45, you get whole numbers. All right. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. So we just looked at the meaning of sine 30, how to use our scientific calculator to get other angles that don't give you a whole number. We also looked at the trigonometric ratio, so-called TOR, and how to label your triangle. So thank you, and I'll see you around.